Hi, it's PeeMonster. I wanted to talk about avoiding symbols in your art, which is, when I say symbols, I'm not referring to like peace sign or, stuff like that. Of course, that's going to be in art. But what I'm referring to is, like if you want to make your work more real or to take more elements from realism, one thing that really helps is to use a reference. So say, for example, I wanted to draw a turtle. This is a turtle off the top of my head. It's probably not going to be very great, but yeah, this is what I imagine a turtle to look like. This is just based on, everyone knows what a turtle looks like in general. It has a head, it has a mouth, it has some lines on the shell, it has a tail, it has some feet, and it has a stomach. So you can kind of see this would be considered a symbol for a turtle. It's not the portrait of a turtle, it's just a symbol for what we all will recognize to be a turtle. So when you look at your work after drawing something and you feel like, it's not real enough, or it could have had more detail and you're not even sure where the detail could have been, but it could have, I would suggest to use a reference. I know it's more work. I know it requires finding a reference suitable to your needs. I think there's a lot of detail that happens in real life that doesn't immediately come to us when we think of a turtle. Like before, when we drew the lines, it had the lines, but this has more than just lines. It has actual shapes, it has texture, it has markings, and all of that gets missed most of the time if we don't use a reference, and that goes for a lot of things, not just turtles. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my turtle reference here and see what kind of turtle it's going to give us compared to our little toon turtle. Here I can see the shape of the turtle is not nearly as boxy as I would have drawn it. I suppose tortoises are the more boxy of the two. This is a turtle, and it's going to have like a sleek back. Then when I look again, I can see the head of the turtle is kind of flatter as well. Flatter than I would have imagined it. I know not all turtles are the same, but I think I can get the general idea here. Another thing that I notice looking at the turtle is that the arms and the head actually come out from the same area of the shell. I don't think that's something that one immediately considers when they're trying to draw a turtle from memory, especially if they haven't studied a turtle. And what else? Yeah, so he has a shell like that. He has a side, which his shell is probably a bit more complex than one would assume at first glance. I know after watching so many cartoons, we kind of assume the turtle can come completely out of its shell, but when you look really close, you'll see the shell is actually a part of the turtle. And so yeah, I mentioned markings. One of the perks of when you use a reference is you will see little things that everyone sees, and you'll be able to recreate it. And in turn, that creates some believability with your turtle, or whatever it is you're trying to draw. I know it takes more time to use a reference, but I think in the end, ultimately, it's worth it, not just for people being able to relate to your drawing, but also you learn a lot, even just from one session. I'm just blocking out basics of what I see here. It's not a exact copy of the turtle, but you see, just for the sake of showing the difference between the details, I had put in this little cartoon turtle. There's so much left out. It's not like tic-tac-toe at all. It's actually very distinct markings and patterns that kind of intertwine to create what registers in our mind as a turtle. There's actually some pieces in there that look like pentagon. And yep, to top it all off, we got some textures. I'm not saying it has to be an exact copy of your reference at all. You know, a lot of times people want to do their own thing with it, and that's fine, and you still can. You absolutely still can. But the reference makes whatever you choose to do to make it your own believable. Yeah. And of course all the textures on his legs. He has scales, which I'm not going to block all that in, but just so you get an idea. Alright, so if I could compare the two, honestly, I would say I'd rather have this turtle in my art rather than this turtle in my art. This is, I'd prefer for my work to take a little bit more from real life than just stuff that doesn't even make sense. Like even the idea that the turtle has little holes for each leg, you know? It's not quite like that when you look at the real thing. Yeah, just take some time to practice printing things out. You know, we have the internet now where you can look in a magazine and just draw what you see. It doesn't take like, I don't think it takes as much as people assume. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The bottom line is that the detail, you see the detail, your turtle is anatomically correct, technically. He doesn't have extra holes in his shell that don't exist in real turtles. And we look at him and we know he's a turtle and not a tortoise. There's no question. And yeah, hopefully this helps someone out there. It helped me when I learned. Sometimes I still don't, but I try to make it a habit to make sure I do as much research when I'm drawing things like animals or, you know, anything. Anything with a reference is better, I think. Right, and that's all. Have a great day.